Hello and welcome to another episode of TripTalk. Today we have a very familiar, esteemed guest, Laura. Hello. Welcome back to my show. Mwah.
Thanks for having me, honey.
I would love to have you anytime. So, what are we doing here today?
We are coloring and we are chatting.
So yes, we are coloring and we are chatting. We are going to be picking a page in our coloring books, which sometimes I have one that I already started on and I didn't finish because they're very intricate, but
Yes. I'm going to be picking one from scratch, which I'm going to be challenging myself to finish it regardless of how finished I feel it is, because that is a continuing theme in my life.
yes, Laura is a perfectionist. Anybody who is familiar with our lives is familiar with that aspect about her, and it is one of your strengths. But what would you say about it?
It's a blessing and a curse for sure. Yeah, I think it makes me very detail oriented, very polished when allowed ample time.
How much time is ample time to get
As
polished
much time
up?
as it takes, honey.
Well, you have heard how diamonds are made, right?
With pressure. Yeah, I feel it.
Yeah, but I think, does it take a ample amount of time, or is a diamond made just with the pressure alone?
I actually don't think that it's pressure alone, but I'm
Well,
not
pressure
100%
alone would be the
sure.
lab-made diamonds, the
that
artificial
makes
version
sense.
of a diamond.
Uh-huh.
But a real diamond, you know,
So
the
like
kind that's
AI
really
versus real art.
Oh, burn AI! You're giving lab-created diamond. She's giving all natural, made in stone. You gotta go chisel for that shit if you want to find it.
Listen, it's worth the work. Honestly, like I'm very happy with my results. It is a little frustrating when experiencing external pressure, but I will say I don't think I could exist in a vacuum, and the pressure does help. If anything, like just to get through a dang project so I can get on to the next project, because I have no lack of ideas. That is never an issue on my part. I don't really have the creative block in terms of coming up with the things. It's more of like, how do I bridge that imaginary realm and reality to, you know, form a union that I'm happy with in terms of a physical representation of my idea. I get very attached to my ideas, and when the physical product is not coming out exactly according to my expectations,
Frustration.
I get very frustrated with that, yes. But I'm learning to accept it more and more. Like, even working as a full-time artist and doing this magazine, making it up, the first few runs were really a test run, and now I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm getting into a rhythm of it. I'm kind of refining my direction in every segment, and so, you know, has the pressure of man-made deadlines entered my thoughts? Of course, but am I letting it necessarily drive the boat? Not as much. I'm more letting, you know, like the zodiac wheel serve as a source of inspiration rather than something that I'm constrained and bound to, because as a rebellious Aquarius, as soon as you tell me to do something that I was planning on doing, that got knocked off my list. Like, I just, unfortunately, I can't do anything unless I feel like it's coming from intrinsic motivation, even if in actuality there's a little bit of extrinsic pressure too.
Yeah, you're basically imagining what you think people will think about what you think.
Right. And I've been really having to separate the creation process from the editing process.
Yeah, you can't edit in the middle of creating because if you're...
then you'll never write anything. You'll stop yourself before you ever get any ideas really on paper. And I have never liked a rough draft. I will make so many rough drafts that it ends up being like an 84th draft.
Are they very similar to each other, or they're so different that it wasn't an edit?
Sometimes if I'm writing in pen and I mess up on enough words and have to scratch through them, I'll get so disgusted with the state of the paper that I'll just start over that initial idea dump. I know. I'm trying to move away from it, but it's so hard. It doesn't feel right in my bones.
Well, why do you keep choosing pen? Why wouldn't you just pick a pencil then?
Well, when you write with pencil, I mean, at least me, I rest my hand on the paper and it ends up smudging together so much that
it ruins it.
It ruins the order of it. Yeah, I really like visual order.
So, do you have a favorite pen? Like
100%.
Yeah.
Yes, I have a favorite spoon. I have a favorite fork. Don't diagnose me in the comments.
You really do.
That's between me and my healthcare practitioner.
You really do have that ability to look at the details of something so finely that you would think a spoon is a spoon, a fork is a fork, a pencil is a pencil, a pen is a pen. But no, when you go to touch it to the paper, you're feeling like, no, this is different. Or you go to eat a bowl of, or you go to like take a bite of cereal and you're feeling like, this spoon's too small. Like Goldilocks.
Or too big.
You're literally doing the Goldilocks.
Yeah, I am.
Have you ever?
But when I find something that's just right, it gives me so much joy.
And then you find out that it's not yours. That's what the story's about. It gave her so much joy when she ate the perfect porridge, but then she was like, this is only temporary? Not only was it temporary, but I'm pretty sure, I don't know what happens in the real Goldilocks, but I don't think it goes that well for her.
Yeah, I can't imagine based on what I know about.
Like maybe like finding, maybe there's some metaphor about trying to find perfection and when you finally
the metaphor
find
is it doesn't work, and that's what I'm learning in the magazine as well. So
maybe the metaphor is that perfect is subjective.
Well, I think it's an interesting dichotomy because with AI and like the technology of so many like visual art forms, people are trying to put a formula and an order to it and end up with like a perfect product. And it's funny how sometimes landing on the perfect product actually makes it so uncanny that people end up not resonating with it. And so much of what I'm drawn to has like a raw or unfinished edge to it, where you would think like me, the perfectionist that I am, would only like perfectly symmetrical faces or perfectly symmetrical designs, but actually no, I like
some touch.
I'm finding that I'm more like balanced than I like perfect symmetry, and so that's allowing me to play with kind of the distribution of certain things. So I'm kind of doing that with like time constraints right now.
Isn't that your Libra moon?
It is.
So if you're feeling like your moon, so if you're not that familiar with astrology, you have your sun, your moon, and your rising.
Right.
The sun is what most people know as their zodiac sign, and that's your ego. That's kind of what, like, that's kind of like what you are, I guess. I'm a Taurus, so my sun is very true to Taurus in general. But then you have your moon, which is your emotions and your emotional side,
your truer self,
and
that you might not be as in touch with, but it's definitely making some decisions for you.
Right, and that's where your Libra is, and Libra is known for that justice, wanting to be balanced, wanting to feel like there's some kind of scales here, like it can't tip too far in one direction. Too smooth or too rough does kind of play into that too.
But it's also so subjective too, because I actually used to like argue with people in my past about like balance and happy mediums, which is so funny because that's what I'm aiming for. But everybody's idea of what that means is so subjective.
Well,
you're the one holding the scales.
Right. The scales actually depends on what you're measuring and in what detail, because yeah, the balance could be off, or you could be doing like a computer. For example, with AI, the issue is at the end of the day, it's just on or off, yes or no, 0 or 1. And so that is very, 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 very fixed compared to how we think, which is between 0 and 1, the numbers are an infinite, like it's an infinite amount of numbers between 0 and 1.
Right.
Because you can do 0.001.
You're just changing your perspective to fit whatever narrative you're trying to tell. Yeah.
But no matter what, we think that there's infinity between all points. From point A to point B, there's a lot of different ways you could get there. You want to be this artist and do these things, and I mean, you can't change the past, so already this is an interesting universe that we're living in.
Yeah.
Because this route that you took is unique to you.
When you're being an entrepreneur and calling the shots, there's no like system to lean back on and blame and, you know, allow to take over. Like, I am the one setting my own schedule. I'm setting my own deadlines. I'm setting my own game plans when I disappoint myself or how to remediate it. And I'm really having to listen to myself and like what's best for me instead of like only turning it into like this corporatified business aspect, because I never want my art to be something that is like only a commodity. I don't want to be valued only for my output. That was my mission with taking this journey on. So why would I start treating myself that way? And even I learned that this past week. If you'll notice, I sound a little nasalier than
nasalier.
Yeah. But I ended up getting sick, and that really threw a wrench in my plans when I'm a one-woman show and I'm creating this 40 to 50 page magazine on, you know, a monthly cadence.
Yeah, 30
1 week,
days.
Yeah, 1 week out of 30 days is huge. And so I really just had to decide, because what's done is done. Do you adjust the expectations and allow yourself some breathing room to come up with a creative solution, or do you just beat yourself up for it until you give up on this like dream you set for yourself?
Yeah, there's
I'm
really
not
no
really a
in
quitter,
between.
so,
It's that yes or
yeah.
that no. Am I going to keep going or am I not going to keep going?
Right.
It really is that simple.
And the magazine is coming.
And the
so-
magazine is coming, and I
It's very
know
close to
y'all are
done.
waiting on it.
Yes, it's in the final stages of production. I haven't forgotten about it. Like I said, it's more of my muse than something that I'm bound to and chained to. So I'm allowing it to function as such and not, breach its authority level.
Yeah, and we deserve the energy to put some of our life into this. And I know y'all wish this podcast would keep going. And I'm sure you want to hear more from Laura. And if you do, you can check it out on the Wonder and Art magazine.
Absolutely. So edition 5 will be coming out this week. And then edition 6 will be coming out very shortly thereafter. We also are going to be resuming our neighborhood market within the next couple months, which is really exciting. I have a lot of new projects on the way. So we're going to be breaching the world of earrings. If you're not someone who has their ears pierced, we have clip-ons available on the store now. And we're also going to be coming out with some necklaces, bracelets. Jayla's working on some art projects. I'm working on some art projects.
Yep.
So we're very excited.
Stay tuned. Thanks for joining us for this episode of Trip Talk. We will see you again for the next trip. Peace out. Love y'all. Have a great rest of your day.